All right, and we should be live. Happy Labor Day, everybody. We are here with K-Pro. We're here with Sherry, otherwise known as Sassy, and we're here with Chris. So, yep, let me make sure it goes live here. All right, so we're glad everybody could join us on this long holiday weekend. Let me mute that, because that's going to be an issue. And Sherry and Chris wanted to talk over boots on the ground, maybe solutions, maybe not everything, but they just want to discuss a little bit of what they've been through in the past. And we'll go around the room and do an intro real quick. Christy, say hi to everybody.
Hello, I am K-Pro. I have this little known site called hintofriches.com. Come check it out. Ooh, look.
And there's Mr. Joel Lewicki. All right.
Boom, it just happened.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say tonight I will be more manning the chat room than anything else because as you can see, we have a whole little crew in here tonight. So if you put at K-Pro in the front of anything and you want me to ask, because I can tell you 2 people in the room do not have the chat up. So if you have questions as they're walking through their solves or you want to interrogate Joel Lewicki, because that's what we all love to do. Just feel free. I will interrupt as I can and try to get questions in, but it's going to be a fun night tonight.
Okay. Sherry, go ahead, say hi to everybody.
Interrogatory questions for Joel Lewicki.
Who, what, when, where, why?
I came prepared.
All right, Chris, introduce yourself to everybody. I think this might be the first time Chris has been on YouTube for the Forrest Fenn hunt.
That's the first time I've been on YouTube, period, I believe.
Okay.
I'm Chris Dotson. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and I'm kind of the under radar guy, I would say, or as you all call me, the lurkers.
How long you been involved in the hunt?
About 6 years.
And how many boots on the ground?
Just one.
Oh, okay. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit tonight, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Now one, it's all it took. Boom.
Awesome. And then, of course, we know Mr. Joel Lewicki, who is just returning from a boots on the ground, I believe. Is that correct?
Crocs on the ground.
Crocs on the ground. That's right. Did you throw them at the grizzly bear?
Guy.
Oh, hey.
Yep.
Okay, I just want to chime in on one little thing. So Joel and I have communicated a little bit. We kept it on the down low when we were communicating, but he was like, I have to go. There's a bear here and my adrenaline's rushing. And I'm like, what?
How close was that bear?
Are you alive? Are you alive? And you didn't text me back for a while. And so I was a little, but you obviously have all limbs or at least your arms.
Yep. And I can't say where I was searching specifically, because it was
highly doubtful it was in there.
That's funny. Just because the bear population has quadrupled over the last 10 years, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, I was about probably 40 yards from an adult grizzly bear and was in some pretty thick brush and backed away. I was, hey bear. And it was crossing left to right in front of me and went away from me when I did that. I did have my bear spray out with the safety off and a Glock 10 millimeter on my side, which I did not use. But I was still pretty nervous as a result of that encounter. So
we were and I was like, wait, and I was thinking, okay, depending on where he is, it's okay. And then you were like, yep. I'm okay. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, you're lucky you could even text where you were.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And more importantly, did you get video of this? Did you have your phone out or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
You are underestimating my level of calm during the interaction, Mike.
All right. So it was pretty scary, huh? Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it was like within like throwing distance of.
Oh, wow. So did you turn around and there it was? Like you didn't know as you were walking up until
I was going forward and I came through some pretty thick brush and then there was a little open area and then some more brush and it was on the far side of that brush. So no, the good question, Huli. No, my wife and kids were all back at the campsite. It was actually quiet time after lunch and I was out searching by myself. So
yeah. All right.
I gotta say, I grew up in the woods, and when my dad was first building his cabin, we had an outhouse for like the first 2 years. There was no indoor plumbing, and there was a big bell on the porch and a bell on the outhouse because there was bears all over the place. Right. So when you were going, you rang the bell on the porch, and you ran like mad to the outhouse and rang the lift so that you're there.
Yeah, and we have black bears all over up here. I was talking to my dad tonight. He had bears in his garbage last night. They're so different than grizzlies. Like it's
Yeah.
totally different.
Well, and it's funny because this just tells you all walks of life. Sherry, Sassy, I've never had that experience, and I would have peed myself if there was well, and that's probably the wrong thing to do, but I go with my bear spray and all that, like I'm going to be tough when I go and search, and I'm thinking there's no way, and I have my bear bell and my this and my that, and I was like,
dinner bells. Call those dinner bells.
Yeah.
The worst thing was the chipmunks would get in there, and you'd be sitting on the toilet and feel their whiskers on your. That would propel me right out the door.
All right, it's a PG show. I just want to point that out. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. I will mention that Super Chat's on as it is always. And everybody, if you like the content, give the show a thumbs up. But let's start with Chris. Chris, you've come back recently from a Boots on the Ground, and you wanted to share a couple things with everybody, correct?
Yeah.
Or maybe give us a reason why you decided to come on YouTube for the first time. What is it that made you come on?
I don't know. I just, I don't know. I've watched you all a bunch. I've watched, like you said, I've been what you call a lurker. So I've watched about every YouTube thing possible on Forrest Fenn.
Okay.
And then originally I had a lot of different theories and stuff and went down rabbit holes just like everybody else does. But then I started focusing solely on the first book. And then I started going back and retracking my thoughts and saying, he wrote this first book, and then what was it? 4 years later, he wrote, Too Far to Walk. And then 3 years later, he wrote Once Upon a While, and then he revised it. There's reasons why he did this stuff. And he did it to point back to the first book and basically tell us where to look.
Kind of reiterate some points that people missed in the first book, is your theory?
Exactly. And I think people, I really think people overthink things, and that's the problem. And so anyway, I studied and studied and studied, like Forrest said, and I never did a bunch of boots on the ground like some people do. And I guess I was kind of fortunate that I did live in Louisville, Kentucky, because I didn't have the chance to go out and do boots on the ground all the time. And
now, why do you say fortunate? What if it was in your backyard? Wouldn't you have wanted to go out hundreds of times? Or why do you say fortunate that you weren't that close?
Because I think it made me study more, which I think that's what you have to do. I think people that have the ability to just go out and look for it, they don't study the book, they get off track more. And I've studied. And actually, it was, I was talking to Mike about this earlier, but I had about a year ago, a week before Thanksgiving, I had a massive heart attack. And they only gave me 10 to 15% chance to live. And now I've got 4 stents in and been doing really good and stuff. But that made me look at life. And plus, I couldn't do anything. And I'm a very active person. I'm a construction superintendent, and I paint, and I have multiple hobbies that I do.
And I'll point out that the picture of Forrest Fenn back there, you painted that, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool.
I just did that. I don't know why. I kind of wanted to do something because I respect him so much, and I just kind of wanted to give back to the community, like some people have, make with their art,
Yeah, for sure. So while you were recovering from the heart attack, I'm assuming you had a lot of time to study the book.
I kind of made a promise to myself. Either I was going to find this thing. The only way that I wouldn't find it if somebody found it first. And I kind of, my heart attack put my wife through a lot of stuff. And I said, hey, I want to find this and change our lives. And
Now, let me ask you this, because I think it's an interesting dynamic when there's couples for the thrill of the chase. Is your wife invested in this whole thing, or is it just you?
It's funny you say that. And it's funny you're talking about the bears, because for Christ's sake, she was scared to death about going on this trip. And we went for about 2 weeks. And actually, we were going to make it a vacation. And actually, like I told you earlier, I had a documentary deal, and that was supposed to be part of the 2 weeks and stuff. But we got out of that agreement and stuff. And so we actually vacationed a little bit too much, because we were all the way from Yellowstone all the way down to Cheyenne. And we just did a lot of stuff. I did a lot of fly fishing. And we only actually spent about 3 days looking for the treasure. And and I kind of ran out of time. But going back to that, so I studied and I studied and I studied. And then when we went boots on the ground, it was totally different. But I feel like I was close to where I was supposed to be. And we actually found some stuff, major clues that I would have never found if I wouldn't have been boots on the ground.
So I'm sure everybody's wondering, will you share what state you were in and found these clues in?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm in Wyoming. I mean, you know.
Okay.
So
in Yellowstone National Park or outside of Yellowstone National Park?
outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I want to, and that's one of the things I want to talk about tonight. And I love the look on Sherry's face there. She's just sitting there smiling like, and I'm wondering what she's smiling about. But I would like to grasp the thought, or I would like to know why so many people. I know your chat room's getting ready to light up, but I want to know why everybody is so stuck on New Mexico.
Oh, maybe Sherry can answer that one.
So, and go ahead.
After he's through, I mean, I think one of the coolest things about this hunt is that if you've gone out and hunted and you've had this great time with your family or your friends or whoever's done it, in the end, you don't have it, but does it really matter? You had this great time. Everybody's that's excited about where they go. That's all that it's. That's it right there. You love your solve. You found magical things there. That same thing when I went to my place. Same thing happened. Well, I didn't actually go, but whatever.
You had somebody go for you, right?
Yeah, but you find these cool things, and you're like, oh my gosh, this fits. And I think everybody that has a location that's been boots on the ground has that experience, and that's just cool. I think, anyway.
So we did get a super chat from William. Thank you, William. He says, for the panel, and you guys can answer this at any time you feel comfortable throughout the show, how do you think it's hidden, and what in the thrill of the chase leads you to believe it's that way? So he's wondering if you have a idea on how it's hidden.
I actually told you how earlier we were talking a little bit about that, and the way I think it's hidden. I think it's not buried, but I guess in a sense it kind of would be buried because of probably the weather that has surrounded it over the years. But it could either be in a crevice where a rock is, or it could be, if you remember the story of him talking about, I think it was in Too Far to Walk, he goes back to his home, and he said the juniper bushes weren't there anymore, and he didn't have to worry about the spiders and all that. But he got digging around, just scratching the surface a little bit right there on each side of that front porch, and he found some old toys.
So you're thinking it might be like right under, it's concealed somehow and it's right underneath. So in other words, you don't need a shovel to dig this thing up.
So think about this, Mike. He says, when you see the blaze, look directly down your
quest
whatever,
to cease. Yeah,
your quest to cease. I think whenever you see the blaze, which is going to be a large object, and remember I told you I'm going to talk about what somebody told me they thought the blaze was, and I think it's really neat.
Oh, that's right. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
I'll tell you that story here in a minute. But I think as soon as you find the blaze, you're going to look down, and basically all you're going to have to do is just kind of clear the ground.
Right.
and you're going to end up rubbing on the top of it.
I think I agree with that generally. I think I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, if you read the poem literally, I mean, that's kind of what it says. Look quickly down and your quest to see. So, okay.
When we found our blaze and you look quickly down, there's a big hole in the top because it's on top of this rock, big rock cliff thing, and there's a big hole that was full of rainwater.
That would be interesting for it to be there. Yeah.
Yeah. Betty said it was.
I thought.
Betty said it was wet, but it wasn't in water.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's rainwater collects and it evaporates and it collects and evaporates and
yeah.
But there wasn't anything.
And he does have a story about that where he was sitting in the creek, and he said that the sand would change on the part where he would like to go down and cool down at the San Lazarus Pueblo. He said that the sand in that part of the creek would change frequently, if you remember that. But anyway, back to my trip to, so we're driving up through, and when we come into Matiste, we're going to Cody, okay, on our boots on the ground, because we're going to go to, Kerwin, and we're going to go to Yellowstone, a couple of places, So we stay in Cody, but on the way there, we go through Matiste, which you have to go to Matiste to go to Kerwin, So when you're driving through Matiste is like the base camp for Kerwin.
Okay.
And Kerwin is where Amelia Earhart started building her cabin with Carl Dunrud, started building it up there for her. And Carl Dunrud used to be a rancher. He used to own the Double D Ranch. Plus, he used to be a guide in Yellowstone. And I imagine back in the day, Forrest probably knew Carl Dunrud, But so anyway, we're driving through this little hole in the wall town, and they got these old buildings that are built in like the 1800s. The old general store, and with storefronts and stuff, and there's this light on, and we see this like big like clay, like I didn't know what it was. I was flying. We'd been driving so much. And but anyway, when we left Cody and we came back during the day, I seen it again, and there was a guy in there with clay shaping this big statue. There was a big horse in there. There was a big elk in there. And there was this guy that he was doing a statue for, I don't know, something in Texas. There's a guy with a shovel, like a groundbreaking looking, and he had like a suit on. So I told my wife, I said, oh man, we got to stop in there. That guy's in there, sculpting that thing. So we pull in, I walk in, we look at it. And I showed you the picture earlier. I mean, his sculptures were easy.
It looked like it was 10 to 12 feet tall. I mean, it almost looked like a statue of Abraham Lincoln or something. Yeah. I don't know if you can find the picture, but yeah, it was really kind of cool.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about Matisse. I pronounce it Matisse, but you're saying Matiste, right?
Okay. I guess Matisse, whatever.
I just want to make sure.
Here's the picture. I don't know if you can see it or not.
Can you see that head? Look at that head. Look how big that is. And that's out of clay, and he's doing it by hand. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I go in and I'm talking to this guy. I can't remember his name for the life of me because I was too enthralled with his stuff. I mean, his stuff was awesome. And so we get talking, and he says, yeah, I know Forrest Fenn. He used to be my neighbor for 30 years. He said I had a studio right down the street from his the Fenn Galleries. And I was like, you're kidding me. He's like, yeah. So he's like, I said, so what do you think about this whole treasure thing? He said, oh, I've got my theories on it too. So we're standing there talking, and he's talking about different things about the treasure, but then he brings up the blaze. And I said, that's the only thing that I haven't really figured out. And he said, I'll tell you what I think it is. He said, I'm not going to have time to go look for it anyway. He said, I think it's up there around, what's that called? Boiling, River or whatever in Yellowstone.
Boiling
Firehole? The Firehole River?
No, it's called.
No, the Boiling River is up on the north side by Mammoth.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. That he said he thought it was up there, and so he's look at the look on our face. So he says I think it's up there, and there's these cliff sides that hang over, and they're blackened from where the Indians used to set fires at the bottom of them and burn, and the soot would permanently blacken the cliff sides. And he said I think that's what the blaze is.
The actual blackened canyon wall itself, or the forest is somehow put something on it?
The canyon wall itself, because he said that will last for 1,000 years.
So this guy says he was a neighbor or knew Forrest Fenn from his gallery, and that he had a shop as well in Santa Fe for 30 years.
He's a bronze sculptor.
And now he's in Meeteetse, and he's going to set up a shop there.
Yep.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So anybody who's through Meeteetse, I guess you could look for this guy. Go ahead, Sherry.
I have a similar element. It's an overhang slab of rock with the black from the campfires through the years. And I suggest, this is a theory, that Terry a scant is a slab of rock. And I suggest that it's not Terry, that it's tarry.
Mm-hmm.
Tar from the campfires, the soot, tarry scant instead of Terry scant, because a scant is a slab of stone.
There you go.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay.
So it's interesting that you both have had the same, or have thought of the same idea, I guess, for the blaze.
Yeah, and in two completely different places.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Because I'm in New Mexico and he's in Wyoming.
Right.
But it's the same deal.
So anything that stands out, right?
Yeah. I mean, so he said, remember what he said? He said, when some people see the blaze, or they may have seen the blaze and didn't know what they were looking at. I remember him saying that at one time. I don't remember exactly how he said it, but he said something like that.
Okay, so I had to step out for a second, but coming back, are you going to walk through your solve? Or are you going to tell us the highlights? Where are you at with sharing what you're sharing tonight?
Well, I'm getting ready to share a few things with you, but it's not going to be like I told him, I'm going to hit reality in a couple places and stop myself. So,
all right, wait, let me record this. Oh, we're live. Never mind. Okay. Go ahead.
You're a better man than I am. I provided pictures.
Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah. So we're definitely going over an hour tonight, everybody, just so you know. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
So I want to go back to the whole why people think it's in New Mexico when he's given so many Forrest Fenn, like me and Mike was talking about earlier. When Forrest gives his clues, it's in a 13-year-old mind, conniving, little like ha 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 mindset. Okay, that's just Forrest. And if you don't speak the Forrest language, you'll never figure it out. That's just all there is to it. So I didn't have time to dig it up and stuff, but like he talks about in the beginning of one of the books where he's sitting there watching a Cowboys and Broncos game. Do you remember that?
In one of the scrapbooks?
No, yeah, it was in one of the books. It's in one of the.
Oh, okay.
I think it's either in Too Far to Walk or it's in the beginning of it. But he's sitting there talking about watching the Cowboys and Broncos, you know, and some people would think, well, the Cowboys are from Texas, and you know, the Broncos are from Denver, you know, but. That isn't. He was putting it right in your face. I mean, what's the symbol of Wyoming?
Is it the Bronco? The bucking Bronco? Yeah.
It's a cowboy on a bucking Bronco. I mean, he puts those kind of things right.
Chase-opoly.
Yeah. Right.
She's giving bad hints out, ain't she?
Yeah.
She's dying over there. She's wanting to spill the beans. So anyway, so another thing too, this is a lot of people, do you remember the Suzanne Summers video that everybody was like, why in the hell did he put that video out?
One
Do you remember that? Huh?
Bathtub out in the middle of nowhere. Yep.
Yeah, and he walks up and he says something like, she says, what's that? And he says, that's a threshold. And she said, you mean that's the front door? He goes, well, it could be the back door too. Do you remember him saying that on that little bitty clip?
I don't remember that, but I know there was a couple Suzanne Summers related things.
Forrest Fenn, though, is such a name dropper when it comes to celebrities that I just don't think any of.
So it has nothing to do with Suzanne Summers.
Well, I know, but that's the point.
Yeah. The point is it has to do with the threshold, because what he does in the second and third book, he always tries to put you back in the first book where you need to be. Okay. And in the first book, it's on page 71, and in the very last paragraph, he talks about when he got kicked out of school, and it says the little country farm to market roads in the area were short and had many intersections, and it wasn't easy catching a ride in the direction I needed to go. So that night I slept under a tree with cows grazing all around it. It was a threshold moment in my life, but I didn't know it at the time.
I see how you tied that in there. Okay.
But I'm just telling you how to read or talk Forrest Fenn.
Mm-hmm.
Speak his language, because that's what you have to do. You have to look at all of these other little things that he's put out after he put the first book out, because all they do is point you back to where you need to be reading, or what the key words are. Okay. And
I can agree with that, I think. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to tell, this is and people can argue with me and I may be wrong and blah, blah, blah. But when he first came out with this, and he said it a million times, he's talked about, when I decided to put this out, we were going into a recession. Mm-hmm. That was, he came out, he decided to hide that and do his memoir and all that because that was one of his reasons. Cancer wasn't his only reason. He kept on saying, we're getting ready to go into recession. He said that I don't know how many times. And there's certain things that he's repeated in all his interviews, and but recession, he said it several times. Let me remind you, we were getting ready to go into a recession, and that's exactly what he says. Let me remind you. Let me remind you. So anyway, so I started looking at that point of it, and you look at a lot of these different points in his growing up from childhood to up till he really started making money with the Fenn Gallery. Okay. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of times when I think he felt homeless. And homeless you have to look up the definition of it sometime. But and you got to think about how homeless people are. They feel worthless. A lot of them do. And real, true homeless people, not these people out here faking it. But that, just like in that moment right there, he said it was a threshold in his life. And here he was sitting underneath a tree, had been kicked out of school. And, look at the guy in Catcher in the Rye. He was pretty much, he kept on getting kicked out of schools. And he was homeless. There was a time in his life when he couldn't even go back home because he didn't want to face his parents. And there's several different.
So let me chime in, because we're actually at the end of your time, but we haven't gotten to the crux of things. Okay. And I want to. So let's get into some of the detail, because I think a lot of us have followed a lot of the analogies and a lot of the specific references that you've given. So if there's some specifics, I want to make sure, since we have several people on tonight, and Chris, you're funny because earlier you're like, I don't think I could talk 30 minutes. You sure can.
Yeah.
My bad.
And I know you wanted to share where warm waters halt, so why don't you tell everybody?
Yeah.
So fast. So I think with some specifics, the room will really get. I already have a couple.
Okay, I'm gonna give you one thing. I'm gonna give you two things. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, better 3.
I'm gonna give you two things, and if this doesn't make up the most ruckus,
Go to 3. Go to number 3.
All right, go, Chris.
okay, if this doesn't make up the most ruckus that's ever been on any of your shows, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. So, you got a map? You got the Too Far to Walk map?
Not. I mean, I've got it right there on the wall, but not on me.
Okay, I'm gonna. Has anybody have?
I can bring it up if you want me to show it. Yeah, I can show it.
Yeah, bring it up for me.
Okay, give me one.
Has
second.
anybody? I mean, I'm just curious. Has anybody found anything worth it, whatever, on that map?
Well, a bunch of people have found that their area that they've searched is right where in line with a line on the poem that means something about something.
Okay. So
My search area is in the Rockies.
Hey.
And so
And some people have found that their area is outside of the area on that map, and then they realize they're wrong. I think, right?
okay. So I'm gonna give you something that is you're gonna love it.
I'm looking for it.
K Pro, you're not even gonna go to bed tonight because this is gonna be in your head.
Wow. All right.
Oh, bring it.
That's a big buildup. Okay.
Your mind's gonna. So, all right. So you remember the story about the kids with ropes or whatever?
Yes.
Teachers with ropes or whatever.
Yep.
Yep. Teach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crack that book open and
I'm cracking. I'm a
all
crack.
right. So go to Teachers with Ropes or whatever, and find the part.
Do you guys see the map? Let me make sure I share
Yeah.
the rates. Okay.
Wow.
Or a part of it anyway, right?
You see a bunch of them.
Yeah.
I can see a
Yeah.
bunch of them. Yeah.
See if you can blow it up.
Yeah, I'm trying. What it's going to do is take me to the article of it. Let's see here.
If you can't do it, I'll just hold it up and show you. I can't even talk.
It's on Dale's blog, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but go ahead, give it to us while I look for it.
All right. I'm just going to hold it up and show it to you. You
Okay.
can X out of that stuff.
Okay.
Hang on, I just got to grab the book. So, you found the story of the kids with whatchamacallit? Or teachers with ropes?
Teachers with ropes, yeah.
Okay, turn to the second page of it, I think it is, where it talks about George Washington.
And where they touch the picture? That one?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Please do not touch. And he said touch. Okay.
Okay, but so whenever you find that, there's a paragraph after that he uses the word imagination twice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Right?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So, I don't know if I can get this or not. I'm going to try. Oh, man.
So you're up in Wyoming, right?
Mm.
Well, here, since I have the map, hang on, I'll grab it.
Yeah, you do it.
You're teasing us.
You're going to like this.
imagination.
I'm not going to sleep tonight. I've already.
Trust me, when I tell you this, you'll die.
How's this for the map?
Yeah.
What are we looking for?
Okay.
Okay. So, go to Riverton. Riverton.
Yeah, you should have that
I don't know where
in
Riverton
your brain. Where is Riverton?
Riverton, Wyoming.
Wyoming.
Is it south or north of
Right
Yellowstone?
here. Okay.
Oh, we
Okay.
found it.
Hey, you got your finger right there?
Yeah.
Look what you're touching.
Riverton.
No, you're touching the end of George Washington's nose.
Why?
Look at it. Look at the lines on the map.
Oh, you mean this is like a face?
Yep. You see it?
I see. Hang on. So you're saying there's an outline right here. You're saying there's like an outline of George Washington right here, and Riverton would be the nose right here?
You see it?
Kinda.
Oh, you can see it. I don't know if that's the same map as the one in the book, but the one in the book, you can see it.
Which book?
Too far to walk. Too far to walk.
Too Far to Walk doesn't have anything to do with the thrill of the chase.
Yes, it does.
No, that's where the map is.
Yeah, well, that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Too Far to Walk map is yeah. Okay, I mean, a lot of people aren't going to like it. I mean, a lot of people see what they want to see, but
The room is not going to let Sherry get away with saying that, is it?
yeah.
Probably not, but here's the deal. When I first started looking for this thing, none of that stuff was in play because it didn't exist.
Did you find it? No.
There were like maybe 500 people total in the entire planet looking for it when I was looking for it. So
She's a pioneer. Don't mess with her. She's a pioneer.
And just think, way back then, you were in the wrong area.
I'm just kind of like nothing after 2000. Once it hit the big time.
It does.
To me, none of that is valid because he wanted us to solve it with what we had originally. So that's my thing.
I understand that, but everybody could have had a map. They didn't, even though it wasn't.
But they didn't have a map with George Washington's face on it. And I'm not saying that ain't George Washington because it very might be, but he did not go around passing out maps with faces of George Washington on it back then. So that's all.
And Deborah Johnson, she just said lots of people don't have that map. So they're trying to say if that's what led you to the location, they don't think it's fair because it's not in the thrill of the chase.
Well, and he has said we do need a good map, but he said all we need is the poem and TTOTC, but he has said a good map will help you. So do you think it's a hint or a clue? See, I'm going to need to study that for a while and then have to go look at, so I can't look right now. I'm not sleeping later, I can tell, but is that the correct?
You have fun with that, Chris.
Okay, no, let me tell you what reiterates it, okay?
Okay.
And it's at the very beginning of Thrill of the Chase.
Okay.
When he talks about his dad's principal sign, and he talks about the kid that wants to beat him up, and his name's John Charles whatever.
Right, with the long little thin jar of olives, right.
Yeah, well, you know who John Charles is?
Is that John Charles Fremont? That's what I've always thought. Yeah, I went down that rabbit hole a long time ago.
No, it's not a rabbit hole because the tip of George Washington's nose is Riverton, which is in Fremont County, Wyoming.
Oh, okay. I got you. And just so everybody knows, John Charles Fremont is who Fremont Street is named after here in Las Vegas. So it's kind of interesting. That guy was around and explored a lot of areas.
Anyway, that's all I'm going to say. So all right. You can make fun of me.
So did you just give up your location that you think it's in Riverton area somewhere? Not that I don't think anybody's going to jump in their car and go, but...
Well, they might.
Yeah, they might. You never know. But you still got to figure out where Warm Waters halt, which I know you have and you're not going to share, but okay.
Yeah.
And...
So the big thing is that's the little nuggets of wisdom that I think if everybody brings together, we could actually solve this. I don't know because I have to analyze that piece to fully know, but just like my solve, my Nez Perce, I was like, Cynthia's going to drop everything and run for it. And she was like, it's nice, but, she never even went out for it. And my past search partner, same way. So I do think it's interesting because we all see it in so many different facets. And again, I believe Forrest Fenn, other than if he came on live, but if he posted on the blogs and said, here's the exact solve, and it was the exact solve, people would say, no, let me tell you. So
hey, I posted my solve for the David Blaine hunt 15 hours before I left the house. It's time enough for 3 different sets of searchers to go beat me there. Because I just didn't believe in it. There were probably 200 comments that said, that is not the solve. That is so stupid.
And I know, Sassy, you've said in the past that some of those were Forrest Fenn searchers that may even be in the chat room today, but you're not going to say who they were, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, you were on 12. You know some of the people that were there, Mike.
That's true, yeah. I know one I can think of off the top of my head, but yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Chris.
One last little bit. All right. The last little bit I'll give you is in Fly Waters.
Okay.
You know, he talks about fly waters, and I do think that all of this. I'm going to tell you this. I think that all of this is a combination of everything that he's talked about in here, and that's his fishing, his love of archaeology, and it might have to do with something with helping people or just being out in nature, period, you know.
Mhm.
But in Fly Waters, Tom Brokaw did the forward in the second book, not the first book. And
Okay.
the very first line in the forward says, "If fishing is a religion, fly fishing is high church and is a spiritual experience in the great cathedral of the outdoors where rivers run through celestial meadows and mountains." Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Does that not sound like something Forrest Fenn would say?
Well, yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
yeah. And then the very last part of his forward, it says, "In religious services of all faiths, the last words are almost always a variation of 'go in peace.' In fly fishing, we wish you that and tight lines." So don't you think it's funny that he put in the poem, "Go in peace"?
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I never made that connection before. I mean, I never knew that was in fly water. So
I feel like the religious piece, if it's tied directly to the Bible, and I have gotten blown up because I did make some comments in AGK that if you need to know actual scripture, I don't believe that is the tie, because that would rule out a lot of religions. Spirituality, like "go in peace," and what Nez Perce Trail and Chief Joseph and all that has said, that's more spiritual. I can see
Yeah.
that. I think specific Bible verse, me personally, I'm not saying I'm not religious. I'm
No,
saying
me neither.
that's the focus
Yeah.
of the solve of the Forrest Fenn.
Well, that's why he said, you know, he's so spiritual. He said, you know, Forrest has said, I'm not of any particular religion, but I'm like probably the most spiritual person you'll ever meet.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
Yes,
so do you have any knowledge that Forrest has been in your area to fly fish? I mean, do you think that's why it's a special location and all that to him, that he's been
Well,
there?
I know for a fact that he's
Okay.
been all throughout all the places I went.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a couple things from the room. The first thing is, I respect anyone who will go public and take the heat. I really do. And then maybe something negative at the end, but it doesn't matter. The beginning part was,
This is why I don't read the chat while I'm on here, because
Right.
I wouldn't be that nice. Y'all would be.
Tell him take it easy on me. I've already had one.
You lose your monetization for sure.
you already went heart attack out here. No more. But here's the other thing. Are you going to go back to your search location? That was a question for the room.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
We're gonna try to go back this year. But when it's cooler, it's funny he was talking about the whole bear thing, you know, because I grew up in the woods too, playing in the woods, making tree houses, everything. I was a woods going guy, and I live in Louisville, Kentucky. We don't have grizzly bears, and we have copperheads, but you kind of know where they're at. But like in Wyoming, you can go out and there's like rattlesnakes every 30 feet. You know what I mean? So there's several things that I learned when we went that I would dress a little different. You know, I wasn't wearing shorts before, and I was wearing but I'm going to be wearing thicker pants with probably some flexible like shin guards, to keep if a snake does strike at you. Probably have a snake stick, maybe a snake stick with a LED light on it, so you could look in certain places. Would it be even better? So you don't have to stick your hand in there with a flashlight.
Oh yeah, you need a good shillelagh or pole or something. Yeah.
She just says shillelagh, whatever that thing.
A shillelagh. It's a walking stick.
I was just gonna say, some people say walking stick. Yeah. Okay.
Cassie, this is a family show.
A shillelagh is an Irish word.
I should know that. I'm Irish.
Or Scottish or Gaelic or something.
I dare any of you to put one in a geyser, which I have. It doesn't come out the same way. I'm just saying.
Like he said, this is the family
You
show.
would stick it in the geyser.
Geysers.
Oh man. Well, that's one thing that surprised me at Ojo Caliente. I'm like, it's right there. I thought there'd be a fence. I thought there'd be something, but you just walk right up to it. I was like, wow, they just leave it right up in the open. That's
And
crazy.
I won't say where I had the walking stick the first time, but I'll just say it was in that general area where.
Yeah. You know, that's crazy that you would put anything in there. All right, let's transition over to Sherry. She's got some things she wants to share about New Mexico, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you take it away.
I had an awful lot of people just say, okay, you've had somebody boots on the ground. What did you find?
Right.
You know, kind of thing. And
Bringing it.
I found lots of stuff, not the treasure,
Right.
but we found lots of stuff. The first weekend she went just to take pictures and show me what the area looked like and found a few things. And so then the next weekend she went with purpose, just to, look under here and look under here. Now we found a trail of cairns, stacks of rocks.
Mm-hmm.
No trail, but you could follow the stacks of rocks up to a particular place where we found a thing.
Uh-oh.
And from there. So, I was thinking, look at all those cairns of rocks. They're not on a legitimate trail because there's legitimate trails there. Where do they go? That could be a blaze because a blazed trail.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'll show you when we got to the top, we actually found a blaze. But if you want to do the pictures,
Yeah. So you numbered them. Just pick number one. What are we doing here?
No, it's start pick and then the Moreno map and then pick 1 through whatever.
Moreno map is first. Is that what you said?
You can start with Moreno map if you want.
Now, do you want
to start pick either one?
Do you want to give the area?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
All right,
I'll
let's
tell
see
you.
if everybody can see that as soon as it comes up. So yeah, I think you've discussed this before when you were on the show before, right?
Yeah. Before, yeah. All those pink stars are 11 of 30 different things that are mentioned in the book.
Okay, connections, yeah.
There is a red mountain, a black mountain, and a green mountain.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Vietnam Memorial. We have Touch Me Not Mountain. We have Relic Peak. We have, there's actually a gypsy caravan RV resort, and there's a monument that's like a historical monument that talks about when buffalo were in Moreno Valley. And this is Moreno Valley here. At the center of Moreno Valley is Eagle's Nest Lake and Eagle's Nest, the town. Up until 2011, in February of 2011, up until that point, they had a big sign, "Welcome to Eagle Nest, the home of Brown." And it also said that on their letterhead and on a sign.
But it's no longer there?
It has not been there since February of 2011. Or 12. It might be 2012. I don't know. It was in the first 2 years of the hunt. And if you go in the Wayback Machine, you can actually find their old website that says Home of Brown on it.
That's interesting. Okay.
So this was my Home of Brown. But anyway, let's start go to the next one and I'll show you.
Which picture?
It says start pick.
Oh, gotcha. This is the actual solution. I gotcha.
Well, no, this is the actual list of different things
I gotcha.
that are in the book.
Okay.
And what chapter they're in that all appear surrounding that valley.
There is a lot.
That corresponds
there's 30.
to all of the stars and colors and everything from the last.
Exactly.
It's actually.
And he said, get back in the box. All the double eagles were in the box.
Well, these are all the things that have to do that I pulled out of the story, and there's the chapter that can be located on this map. Okay.
Okay.
That all surround the Moreno Valley. Moreno, by the way, means brown in Spanish.
Mhm.
So we'll go with pick one, and I'll give you my warm waters halt. My warm waters halt are not liquid, Chris. You cannot dip your toe in it. Go to the pick one.
But Forrest has said it.
Okay. Agua Fria. Yeah, this is a popular one, I think.
Agua Fria, for most people, is a mountain or a creek or a river or a pond, but up and you'll notice to the right of my pink circle is the landing strip for what is currently Angel Fire Airport, but up until 2009 was Agua Fria Airport.
It's a PG show. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so Agua Fria was once a town, and sometime in 2008, 2009, it kind of got absorbed by Angel Fire. They changed the name of the airport, and they changed, this town kind of disappeared, but it was right there at the junction.
And Agua Fria means what in English?
It means cold water.
Okay, gotcha. So you're saying it's a name. I knew that. I just want to make sure everybody else knows that. So you're saying that by virtue of the name, it's like a play. It's like a word play. This is where warm waters halt because the name of the town is called Agua Fria.
And,
okay.
And right next to the town there, if you go to a little bit on the right on the picture, there's the runway for what used to be Agua Fria.
Oh, this here. Gotcha.
Where I'm sure he has landed a gazillion times.
Okay.
I'm sure Forrest is very familiar. So the whole thing was begin it, where warm waters halt, and take it in the canyon down. So I'm considering it to be Highway 64.
Now, how do you get canyon down?
It's downhill from Agua Fria to, in elevation, it's about 300-foot drop from there to Eagle's Nest.
But the canyon part, is it named canyon or do you think he just used that to confuse people?
If you backed up, you could see that it's a canyon. It's funneling into the valley. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm with you.
So
my warm waters halt is in a canyon.
Okay.
Yeah. So next picture.
Okay. So this is going down the canyon, right?
Yeah, you can see the Vietnam Memorial.
That's
there.
the popular spot. Yep.
Yeah, and we're still going downhill in the canyon, down 64.
Okay.
Take it in the canyon down, not far, but too far to walk, should be the next picture.
Here. So 16 miles.
No.
No?
10.4 miles, 16 minutes drive.
Oh, gotcha. I'm sorry. 16 minutes. Gotcha. Okay.
From where warm waters halt to where I'm going to put in is 10.4 miles.
Okay.
Okay.
Long ways.
And you'll notice that it's below Eagle's Nest City town. It's not below Eagle's Nest Lake. So put in below the Homo Brown. Okay.
Okay.
From there, next picture. From there, it's no place for the meek. So you're heading down the Cimarron Canyon. And this particular map, Google map only showed it as 8.2, but it's exactly 8.25 miles on my Google Earth Pro. From the point where I'm putting in to the point where I'm ending at Maverick Creek.
Okay. Maverick Creek, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so it's 8.25 miles above North Santa Fe. Right?
No, that's not the quote. And I'm just saying it's 8.25 miles to Maverick. Okay, so you can go to the next one.
So for some reason I'm missing pick 7, but this is 8. Is that? I don't know why, but I don't know.
It doesn't matter. Okay. 7 is just showing where you park on the side of the road. Anybody can find it on Google Maps.
Okay.
So what was interesting about this is when you arrive at this area, and it looks like it's just a meadow, but it's filled with stumps. You can see those little things that look like little bushes. They're all stumps of trees. It was logged.
Okay.
The whole meadow was logged. So that was kind of cool when you...
Like that picture.
And that's where the cairns start. So next picture.
Okay, so I have 2 questions from the room already. Did you see any buffalo on this, or did your search partner see any buffalo?
No, the buffalo have to do with the monument, historic monument at the start, right there at Agua Fria, where I started the journey. There's a historic monument that talks about the buffalo and how the Indians used to go out to Cimarron on the other side of the canyon and chase them down through Cimarron Canyon. And basically they were trapped in Moreno Valley. They couldn't get out. That way they could have buffalo to kill all year long, and they didn't have to drag them all the way, 20 some odd miles to. So that's how they used to do it. And there's a monument to that effect that explains that. Right where I started, the Where Warm Waters Halt.
The other question for the room, because that was my role tonight, is did you look around 6 Mile Creek?
What?
Around 6 Mile Creek.
6 Mile Creek. Is that an
I don't
area?
even know where 6 Mile Creek is.
Okay,
so that would be a no.
That would be a no.
so
Like
these
a
are
mile from 5
Okay,
miles.
so as you start towards that meadow with all the stumps, there's cairns like this stack of rock here.
okay.
Next picture. And there's more, you can see them.
Now, do we know who did this? Is this like old?
No, but
ancient,
they're
or no idea.
Every 50 feet. We have no idea. It's not a regular marked trail. So
How big are those?
Seems like a marker of some kind, though, doesn't it?
right, they're
Yeah.
every 50 feet, give or take.
Okay.
But how big are those rocks? I'm just curious.
Sandwich size.
Okay, I didn't know.
Sandwich size.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Okay, and if you take them all the way about 500 feet from where you start, this is where you end up. You end up on top of this little rock precipice thing. There's a trail that goes up there. There you can see the water, that hole
Right
with
here.
water. There was
I
tons of
see.
them.
Yeah.
There was tons of those all over the place. She looked at them and all. But take the next picture. So you get to the last cairn, and this is what you see.
Here?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a hell of a view.
Yeah.
This here?
What do you? Yeah.
What is that? It looks like a handprint almost.
Exactly. It's just orange flame in
Right.
the rock. It's
like a blaze. Okay.
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
below that, I'm assuming though there wasn't anything there.
Well, no. Next picture.
Oh, look at this.
That's what's below it. That
That
blaze is on the top of it, and underneath,
That's kind of interesting.
little cave streaked with the black stuff from all the smoke.
Oh, and that's what you're talking about. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's directly under that blaze.
Hmm.
Look quickly down, and that's what you find. And not just that one. We found a bunch of them.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
all within this one little cluster of rock. There's like 3 or 4 of these little hidey holes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So,
So
I
I
think
wonder if this log burned and that's what caused this. Like maybe, I don't know, lightning or whatever it was. But okay.
like
no, people there. You can tell hunters have been in there. There's been campfires in there.
Okay.
And there's another view. A third one that we found. They're all right together in this one little area. And they've got such a beautiful view of the heavy loads and waters high. There is a Maverick Creek Falls that is right there. Waterfall, high waters. And right where you start the trail are the gravel pit ponds. Because there was a gravel pit there, so heavy loads is how that all fit in.
And that's it for the pictures, right?
That's it.
Okay.
Are you going back to this area?
Could be.
I know
Okay.
the Eagle's Nest is very popular, and Agua Fria also is very popular. Certainly.
I personally can't go because I can't deal with the elevation because of heart
Well, I
condition.
mean, is this
Are you
still
still
your
in that
fault?
area? Yeah.
Maybe.
Mm,
Yes, but I don't know. I might look around some more.
okay. Well, and that's what we're all doing.
I've
So,
seen that
yeah.
before. This is a location I've had since day one. Never did get to go look for it because our trip fell apart. Some of the other locations got to be explored, but this one didn't. But this has been one of my solves. You cats, I'm going to strangle you. Stop it. They're knocking things down, and I'm going to get mad.
So somebody's asked a couple times, do you know if Cynthia Meacham has been in this area?
Have no clue. I know that Rick has, Illinois Ghost.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I know that.
And here's the only answer I give to that. Not that I know if she's been in this area at all. I've been to her home where she has categorized every single WWWH in the whole state, and she has them by location, latitude, longitude. And the whole reason she moved up is she exhausted so many areas. Chances are she has been in every inch of that state. That's just guessing, but I have no idea.
And I have to say, there is an Agua Fria Peak, there's an Agua Fria Lake, there's an Agua Fria Creek, and then there's the Agua Fria Town. But here's, I think, why in my heart, why I really held on to this one since the beginning is it was the very first one I ever came up with. When everything was just in New Mexico, there was no Rockies involved, and there was only 4 people that would show up for a book signing. Back then, I had emailed Forrest, and he would email you back then. He'd talk to you. He was so glad people were looking for his treasure that he would talk his little fool head off. And he would answer me, and I said, okay, we're getting ready to go. We're all packed up. This is what my solution is. And my solution actually started at Agua Fria Peak and went down the backside towards the Boy Scout camp. And but I said where warm waters halt is Agua Fria Peak, and then I continue down the canyon, and below the home of Brown is Boy Scouts, Brownies, you know. And there's a fishing lodge there. So that was the solution, that the very first ever thing I sent to him, and he sent it back and he says, well, that's a really, really good start. So I figured, heck, maybe I got the first clue right, you know?
Let me ask you this, Sassy. If the treasure chest is found in Montana or Wyoming and it's verified that that's where it was, would you be upset with the way things are worded in the book and Forrest's response to you?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay, good. I just wanted to make sure.
Absolutely not. No, I don't take any of this serious. That's not like that.
Okay.
It's not, I'm not one of those people that like, my house is mortgaged and I'm going to lose it because I haven't been working because I've been working on that. No, that's not me.
Or are you going to go out when you finally do go out yourself? Are you going to get out there and then write a book that says it was there, it's just not there anymore, and get on the news and release it in a video like that was done today?
No, and I actually have books to my credit that I've written, but I have no interest in writing a book about this whatsoever.
Oh, you have such an interesting story. The David Blaine thing, I want to help you write a book just on that.
And you still have millions just from that, so you're not really interested in this anyway.
The only thing I have left from that is the card and the stone that the orb was hidden in.
No, you
That's
have
cool.
the story. You have the story. It is
you have the story, which is pretty cool.
It's so fascinating.
Yeah.
All right.
Then again, it dropped in my lap. I happen to have lived outside of Los Angeles.
Right.
If he had hid it in Nebraska, I would be sending Minotaur Marino to go get it.
Right.
You know, somebody that's in Nebraska, I'd say, hey, I'd go into Thor or into one of the chat rooms. Hey, anybody live in Nebraska?
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
So I did want to thank Copper Dan for the super chat. I know it was a little while ago, but and he had a question for Joel. I know Joel saw it. So Joel, how was your boots on the ground?
Again,
Vacation.
Crocs on the ground. It was great.
Did you really wear Crocs?
And this is, I guess, what I would want to share is that it was great because we made a family vacation out of it.
Right.
And we happened to be looking for the treasure. So we knew we weren't going to find it, but we did have a great vacation. So,
and that's really what it's about. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why he did this, right? Mm-hmm. Like someone's going to find it at some point, probably in 1,000 years when they're developing some new, whatever the equivalent is to Walmart's in that day.
Right.
But it was awesome. We went, so we went to the Badlands on the way out, and then we went to Mount Rushmore because I've heard that that's the place. Cool. And then Forrest said that some people had sent that to him, that was the place. So I'm only assuming that that's what it is. And then from there we went to Wall Drug, which I think that factors into most people's solves.
What was that? What's it called?
Wall Drug. It's where you buy all the kitschy Western stuff in South Dakota.
Oh, okay.
You know,
I've never heard of it. Okay.
It's like
Yeah,
a
well,
sporting goods
capitalism.
Walmart.
You know how Forrest is all about the capitalism and selling.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and we went
Right.
to Devil's Tower, which that's self-explanatory. That I don't even need to explain that as one of the clues.
Right.
And then we went. None of this.
I've got a Devil's Tower T-shirt. I know it's related somehow.
Yeah, it comes in with Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Exactly.
Richard Dreyfuss. Richard Dreyfuss was in a movie with Kevin Bacon. So yeah.
Or
Right.
say bacon one day.
Devil's Tower.
Yeah.
Right.
It was we had a great time. One of the highlights was coming into Cody from US Highway 16, like coming in that way into Yellowstone, which on our way to Colorado, which is where we're searching, obviously is in Colorado. And it was absolutely beautiful coming in there. And then we got to meet Ramblin' Pam.
Oh, cool.
Which was awesome. She did not give us any super secret hints, which she was supposed to. So,
and she has them, apparently.
I mean, no, I thought it was under contract. She had to if she got those great videos from Forrest.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
I thought Ramblin' Pam was good people. Man.
Yep. And then we had a blast. We camped in a tent for 7 days.
Really?
It got down to like 29 degrees one night. It was always in the low 30s.
Oh, that sounds fun.
It was something else. We slept in wool socks and ski caps, and it was.
Okay, hold on a second. Mike thinks anything under 90 is cold. You're from Minnesota. I know you told me a little bit, and I didn't publicize too much. We were chatting.
Oh, so this is kind of fun. And I emailed Forrest about this. The campground that we were staying at, the campground host, I won't say his name but anyways, he was from Temple. And he actually was one of Marvin Fenn's students.
Oh, that's awesome.
In the late 1950s.
That's cool.
His junior high math teacher was Marvin Fenn. And he said that every the last day of school, he would show up to school with his pea green station wagon loaded down with stuff, ready to head north to go to Fenn Haven, because he was still running the cabin camps then in the late 50s, early 60s. I'm not sure how long he ran those, but
that's cool.
Joel, we have several questions from the room, and I'm just going to start in, and you answer as many as you'd like.
Sure.
But, what is your WWWH?
That's where warm waters halt.
Correct, sir.
What is the location? Okay, oh no!
The boss is here. She just shut you down.
Quality control.
He's going to say too much. So
That's right. She just shut you down.
Yeah,
that's your lawyer. That's your lawyer. Yeah, exactly.
This is my legal counsel.
Yeah.
She's going to tap you on the knee and say, "No, you are not allowed to say that." Okay, so someone else asked, Scrapbook 204, do you believe was written for you?
No. There was parts of it that I thought were ironic because
now I got to look up Scrapbook 204. Go ahead.
Parts of it fit.
The bears and the huckleberries and
I got you. I remember now.
Yeah, I mean, where we were not in Huckleberry area. So, but I was where the bears were. I saw grizzly bears, not black bears, so I must have been in the wrong spot.
Okay, when you look quickly down from your blaze, do you have a confirmed chapter from TTOTC?
When I look down from my blaze.
Oh, is that the question from Davio?
Yeah.
Do I have a confirmed chapter?
So Davio's trying
I'm not sure any of the chapters made it all the way through confirmation class, brother. I don't know what you're talking about.
His point or his idea is that when it says if you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down, that's in the book, and you look below that line and you read, that helps you out somehow. He's wondering if you've used that, I guess.
Oh, no.
24 hours a day looking at Davio. When Davio goes live, just jump in. You totally know what this means.
Okay.
I totally speak Davio. Awesome.
No, okay. Good question, Davio, but no.
You already answered a little bit of this. Did you contact Forrest? Because you just said, "Oh, I told Forrest this," but did he ever respond to you on your boots on the ground?
He emailed me back while I was up there.
What?
No, because I emailed him about the I emailed him about the guy that was the camp host, and he thanked me for letting me know that. And then Ramble and Pam put a picture of us up, and he emailed and said, beautiful family, excluding you, of course, Joel. But the rest of them look pretty good.
And then when the guy said that he was a student of Marvin Fenn, you're like, we have to be in the right location. This has got to be it. It's one of those confirmation bias things, right?
Yeah, I'm sure that's how it's going to work out when it's found.
Right.
And of course, we all need to know your blaze. There were super chats. There's questions. Inquiring minds need to know. What is your blaze?
So, and again, it's very self-obvious.
I hit you off camera. I could tell she smacked me.
Self-obvious.
He knows that. He knows the blaze is off limits.
So just breaking it down, we have imagination is more important than knowledge. Okay. Mm-hmm. It is a well-known fact that Forrest Fenn is a huge Farley Brothers fan and a big fan of the movie Dumb and Dumber, the original with Jim Carrey.
I don't know why you asking questions.
That reference is to a scene when they dress up in tuxedos and go to a fancy party in the Rockies, and they use a champagne bottle, and kill one of the owls. Okay? So
I see.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to talk about my blaze.
Yeah.
I was talking with Forrest just the other day because I'm going to go off on what you just did. I'm going to do that a little right now. And there's this great movie with Jim Carrey called Liar, Liar. It's a lawyer. Do you think that has any reference to what you just did a second ago?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Excellent. Okay.
So will you be back to your location to search next year? What do you think? Or are you done for the foreseeable future?
I don't know about next year. We might take a little time off. We had so much fun and feel like we got a lot of good searching in, and probably need to go back to the drawing board and start all over because we were wrong, right? Because we looked and it wasn't there.
Right.
So yeah.
I feel the same.
Yeah.
You and 100,000 other people.
Well, and it's not the first time that I've been there either. So
and I'm a firm believer the only way you give up your location is to fully disclose your solve, and then you can stop entire states. Otherwise, it's the girlfriend that you say, oh no, we're broken up, but we'll still go to dinner and I'll still take your middle night call. So do you think that you are done with this location, or do you think you're still going to take a midnight call?
Well, I'm still going to stalk her on Facebook for sure. I mean,
right.
No, so I don't know how. And I'm not going to give up like where we're searching in Colorado specifically, but there's so much that leads us there. To that
the house of Molly Brown. I hear you.
Yeah. No, I mean that.
I don't think we fully acknowledged that we were wrong yet. Like I don't think that has set in yet. So to move on isn't quite possible yet.
Yeah. I mean, if Forrest came out and said someone has sent me all the clues, they've figured all of it out, they just haven't actually gotten the chest yet, I would think that he was talking about me. Okay. Like that would.
That's fair. So you've not let it go. I mean, you've not let it go. So here's a question that we've gotten several times. This is from William. He believes you owe him an honest answer of how it's hidden and what in the TTOTC he found it at.
I think it's hidden very well. So like Forrest answering the school children's questions, I will answer the question that people ask.
That is such a lawyer response. That is such a lawyer response.
And I will be very fair to William. You know the person that I was asking about? That was Joel. I will just say, and there could have been a connection there, and there wasn't. He's no longer BOTG. So I will just say, maybe a connection needs to happen. You guys are both in the same general area.
And again, I don't even bring boots with me when I go. I bring Crocs. I can't be more clear about this.
I
wear the same footwear that your nurse does when you go to the ER. Like, I am not going in dangerous places.
Your ankles are exposed for cottonmouths or whatever. You know.
That's why I don't search in New Mexico, Sherry.
Well, you think there's not rattlesnakes in the Rocky Mountains in Colorado? Dude, you're wrong. There's plenty of rattlesnakes there.
Not up by where we are in Colorado. Alan, I don't know the answer to that, but I would say that. Alan asked whether Forrest wants it to be found before he goes. I'm not sure where Alan is thinking that Forrest is going to go, but I think that Forrest is ambivalent about that. I think that he doesn't. I think that he would be okay either way, but I think that he would. I think he would want it found. I would think there's a little bit about him that has said, okay, this has gone on for a long time, and he does kind of want it to be found. Mm-hmm. I don't have any confirmation of that. That's just because if I was in his shoes, that's what I would want.
It's like a Christmas present. You're like dying to tell the person
what it is. Yeah.
If he didn't want it found, he wouldn't have wrote the second and third and fourth revised the books. You know.
If he really didn't want it found, he wouldn't have written a poem or a book.
Right.
He would have just buried it like the bells.
The bells, exactly.
But I think there's one big caveat to it, huge caveat. I think he has said this. I hope he said this publicly. The one thing that he didn't think about were the 7% crazy people, like the ones kidnapping his granddaughters, the ones with an axe, etc. I think at the time he was ambivalent. I think now he has to worry. I mean, Paco has said, I'm going to keep coming after her until I kidnap her and get her and ransom her for the treasure chest. He has said that to this day. That has to weigh heavy on him. So I think at the beginning it's true, and I don't mean to make it dark, but I think now that some people have died, some things have happened, I think more it's like when he's gone, he can't be the matriarch that he is now. And
patriarch. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, patriarch. I don't think he can be that the same way. So if I were to guess, and I have not discussed this with him, but I think he would almost want to see it through before he passes, even though I do not think he's going to put a heavy hand in it. I just think the family, he's such a strong with the family. I just think he would want to make sure that his family survives this. I don't know what the right words are, but anyway.
To put a different spin on it though, Christy, once he's gone, there is no leverage because no one else knows.
Yep.
But it doesn't matter what is actual, it is what people perceive. And there's lots of people that think,
that's true.
Why were the kids up in? There's been confirmation of the kids searching up in the Yellowstone area. Why did they do it? Why? You can't convince a crazy person the granddaughter holding her for ransom is not the treasure. That still means if there's not a treasure out there, that's done. And so I agree with you, except for you can't reason with crazy.
Well, I'll tell you what.
And treasure hunts in particular are that 7% number has always seemed rather low to me. I would have it more in the 40% myself. But treasure
just look at the chat room.
Is it seems to be a magnet for, and I'm not meaning crazy fun like us, haha, we're nuts.
Yeah.
I mean like seriously mentally incapacitated people.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, let me tell you,
drawn to this kind of thing because it's a dream, it's a hope, it's a it's magic, it's
again,
solve every single problem that they have.
Just to put the spin back on it again from our trip to try to find it, because it really was a lot of fun because we didn't make it all about that, right?
Right.
I think you need to keep it in perspective. Like we thought that we had a pretty good solution to it. It wasn't right. At least where we tried to find it, it wasn't right, but we had a blast. I mean, our kids are going to have memories of this for their lives.
One of the kids' best days was we had a big search planned, and we started out, and they were all ready with their hiking shoes and backpacks, and we're headed off, and all of a sudden we got by water, and they started inching towards it, and I was like, "Don't get wet," and Joel's like, "Well, don't get wet. Just take
off all your clothes
first. Take off your clothes before you get wet." And so we stopped the search, and they swam for hours.
Oh, that's cool.
And we didn't search, and it was a bummer because we didn't get our area searched.
And
they had the best time.
And this is so frustrating. Forrest emailed me later and he was like, "You were within 500 feet. You shouldn't have come."
And you should have said we were busy dipping our toe in it. We had to make sure we were in the right spot. Yeah.
I'm going to hold you in contempt for lying,
Well,
for perjuring yourself.
let me ask you this. So if you looked at the trip and you say it's a net positive, and I'm going to go back to Joel, or what Mike referenced earlier, couples that go out and it looks like you have a really healthy balance, because I know, Joel, you searched alone, but there was a lot of family time. I was like, when are you getting out there? I see a lot of family. Like, you guys are out and, sightseeing. So is this are you going to be out there next year? And are you both still in it? And are you both still do you think it's still that family atmosphere that keeps it fun?
Yeah, I mean, we were still brainstorming stuff on the way back. You got a lot of windshield time when you drive a quarter of the way across the country, and you got the books along with you, and you're thinking, okay, well, what if we did this? Or what if it was talking about this? And so it's a constantly morphing thing where you're trying to refine it. And were we just a little bit off? Is it, were we really close? And, there's just this one other thing that's going to break it open. And
remember, I didn't find mine on the first time. I had to go back.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, and Joel, a question that hasn't come up yet. What exactly is your blaze?
Oh, you must have missed it. So the
it's from the room. It wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
My son, interestingly enough, his perspective is kind of a flip, because, there were a couple different solutions. And of course I went twice to the final solution in the Blaine hunt, but we had a good time. Same thing. Sometimes we didn't find anything. That time we did, but now he's spoiled. And I said, do you want to go to New Mexico and look for this for me? And he says, do you know exactly where it is? And I said, no. And he goes, well, no. Unless I'm coming home with the treasure, I don't want to go. I'm like, look, that's not how it works. Not everybody finds it like that. You have to, you have to have some sweat in the game there. No. Unless I know exactly where it is, he ain't going.
Going back to the crazy people.
Oh.
I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. So I got
say no more.
So, there's some non-crazy people there.
Oh, I'm crazy. He already knows me. But I got for Forrest's birthday, I sent him a Louisville Slugger with his name on it. And I said, you might need this for any more crazies.
That's right.
That's kind of funny.
Nice.
I need one of those, even though, this is the kind of town that you don't even need to lock your doors, but I need a Louisville
Now
Slugger.
we all know you don't lock your doors.
I don't, but my neighbor's got a shotgun, so if he sees anybody going in my house, he'll, take care of that.
Good enough.
Everybody looks out for each other. I love it here, though. I really do. It's my new hometown.
So Joel, you're not going out again this year?
No, I don't have any plans to go out again this year. As we were driving back, trying to brainstorm other nuances on our solve, we were also going through the list of real life things that need to happen this fall, and that's a much more prescient list of things.
There's a lot of adulting to do.
Yeah.
Well, and you just said something that I find really interesting. Our solve. Do you see it as the two of you, the whole family, or I was going to say it's kind of your solve? I feel like one, unless you met.
I'm the more obsessive person.
Yes, that's my point.
We have, I mentioned windshield time. A lot of the things that are breakthrough things, aha moments, they're things that have come up when we've been talking about it together, and yeah.
Well, I think you had a great lesson. We were driving and driving and driving and driving, and I was like, I totally appreciate that. There had to be so many hours of discussion, which is where you kind of get some. You either exhaust it, discuss it to death, or you ignore it and you think about it. You probably had both for hours. Yeah,
and before we even went, this was our attitude, right? We were not going to retrieve the chest. We thought in advance, okay, it's not where we're going to go look. What are we going to do then?
Right.
Thought through that. of, okay, well, what would be a plan B, or what are the other things we want to do? Or, if you get, I don't know, I think it's fine to be confident about where you're going to go enough to actually go try to find it.
If you don't mind me saying, when we talked before you went, you said two things that surprised me. One was just that, because the first time I went boots on the ground, I'm like, oh no, I'm going to pick it up first day, and there for 4 days. And I was shocked the first day. The other thing that you said, Mike and I think both were talking with you. We said, what percentage chance do you think you're going to pick it up? And I think Mike and I thought 98, 99. You were like 40 to 50. I was shocked at your answer, because you said, this isn't my first boots on the ground, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I'm confident
Facts.
that I'm not cocky or stupid, that I think that, definition of crazy is doing the same thing over and over again. You grounded yourself in, I'm going to make sure it's fun then. I'm going to make sure it's all those other things.
Yeah.
And
Well, not only that, when you bring your family.
2 years ago when we went and searched, I think we were pretty sure, like, we had it figured out.
Oh, yeah.
We were like, we had enough aha moments, and we're so excited about them, and we were going to pick it up.
Yeah.
And we picked it up. And then an hour into the drive home, we were like, oh, we didn't think of that. And our solve changed. And I mean, not the whole thing, but a big part of it. And then we were like, we have to turn around and go back. Like, oh my goodness.
Right.
And then.
Yeah, I know that well.
A couple solves later, it has to be fun, or we have to stop.
Yeah.
Now, are your kids, as they're getting older, are they getting more and more into it or less into it?
Our oldest is into it.
Yep.
He's
and the oldest.
How old? Yeah, how old?
He's 10.
He's 10.
If only there was a way to get kids into it, like a board game. That'd be crazy, wouldn't it? So we're hoping that that's the goal, is what people use Chase-opoly for. So
our 4-year-old thinks he knows enough of the lingo from hearing us talk that he's mentally into it.
That's funny.
So,
okay, and so what do you give for now? Okay, you've crashed more than or like all of us have. So your post boots on the ground today. This is your walk of shame. This is when you're the most bitter. So I ask you, what do you say to Forrest Fenn, and what advice do you give all of us in the off season for both of you?
Oh, I say thank you to Forrest. I mean, we had so much fun.
Oh,
I already sent him a thank you email.
Yeah.
I told him I was kind of mad at him, but I sent him a thank you, because we would have, I don't know if we would have ever realized we're a national park, really rough and tough family. I mean, I woke up to 29 degrees in a tent with a non-working heater.
Yeah, that's rough.
And a 2-year-old.
And the 2-year-old, I didn't know I could do that and still be happy. And it's really fun. And I wouldn't have done it otherwise.
Yeah, no, I think, I think I would say, because I would honestly, I wish I knew him. I wish I lived closer to where he was so I could go actually meet him and talk to him. Because I've been boots on the ground a number of times, usually wearing Crocs again. But I wish that I could interact with him a little bit, just to, all I've known of him is from videos. So I don't know how he would react to me. If I was talking to him, that would be really fun. But that's probably never going to happen. That's.
I'll never say never. No, I don't think that. There
Super
might be
chat challenge. Donate to send Joel to Santa Fe to meet Forrest.
You never know what can happen. There are things that, to fly for 2 or 3 or 9.
I'd love to meet him too. I'd love to meet everybody. I mean,
if only there was a meetup for searchers.
Yeah, but seriously, flying across country.
Yeah, right. It's not easy.
And I'm retired, so that's that's kind of hard to do.
Yeah.
I want to try someday, but I agree. I want to meet Forrest, and I want to meet searchers. I do. I didn't want to do that during the David Blaine hunt because they were all so mean to me.
Right.
But this is a different environment.
You know what's amazing? There's still a couple that are mean to me, but all of a sudden, when we do searcher meetups, all of that, it's like the clouds part, and everybody gets along, and people that might not normally, they all of a sudden get along for that little sphere of time. Now that I've been to a couple of meetups that have had some people that maybe don't get along, all of a sudden it does. You get a little like somebody's a little snarky, but like that's every day. But nothing like what's on the blog. I mean, it's so easy when it's on the blogs and stuff.
Let me tie that in a little bit, Christy, because I think that's really true. Because when you interact with someone personally, like in person, it's very different than when you're just a keyboard warrior, right? And you're like, that's a very different thing.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing goes for when you've watched stuff about the mountains or you've read about it and you actually go there, like Forrest is trying to get us to do. It's a very different thing. And it's really, you have that same interaction, not only with people, and you recognize like how awesome it is to be kind to other people and interact with them and see the value in them, but then also to see just the beauty of creation and to see all the stuff around you. I mean, it was incredible. So coming back, we drove way up north from where we were searching and actually went through Yellowstone to come home. And when we were going through, we came out the northeast entrance and drove the Beartooth Highway. And if no one knows what the Beartooth Highway is, it's ridiculous. It's like a road designed by engineers who were on drugs. They're like, this road is difficult and like irresponsible as we can, just so that it's incredibly beautiful. And I was white knuckle driving it for like 2 hours yesterday, and it was awesome. I mean, it's just beautiful.
Well, the
Beartooth 2112, Alan K. That's the one.
Well, when they were talking about meetups, they said you can't get this solved in a meetup. Now, first of all, I will say, I do not believe meetups are about sharing solves and anyone listening.
Oh, yeah. And I'm not trying to get a solve out of Forrest.
Well, and here's the
social.
It is just like a meetup or just like the forums. You go, you tell everybody your solve, or there are some people that do, and everyone ignores you, just like on the forums. But they feel like there's someone crazy like me. Like, I say I'm a treasure hunter. That's just odd. Like, how many of those say that? The meetups are just to know there's someone in the world like you that is trying to look for this, no matter if it's your state or not your state. That's it. Nothing more. That's what the meetups are about. So, and Mike, you were going to say something.
So talking about meetups, we're going to have one here in Las Vegas coming up September 14th. So if you're in Vegas next Saturday, September 14th, we're going to meet up at Olive Garden, 5 p.m. So anybody that wants to come by and say hi, that's the Olive Garden. For everybody knows. And it's unlimited breadsticks, so come on. That's the one on Flamingo in Maryland, the one on the east side on Flamingo. So Olive Garden, September 14th, 5 p.m.
There might be, I'm just saying hypothetically, there might be a few of us that have already coordinated playing poker later that night.
Oh,
maybe.
We're going to Bally's for the 8 p.m. tournament. So search your meetup at 5 p.m. You're welcome to come with us to Bally's at 8 p.m. and play that poker tournament. We'll practice for the World Series of Fenn. But yeah, it'll be a week from Saturday. So we hope some searchers can come by.
You and me need to team up some poker.
Uh-oh.
We need to team up against like guys and then beat them.
Yeah. Oh, and I have a couple other. If you're coming to World Series of Fenn, a few people. It's funny because we announced the date, which is February 14, 15, Valentine's Day. No pressure,
Weekend.
Mike. In front of everybody.
Oh, great
weekend for you. But all I'm saying is there's going to be several women coming, and I can tell you the reigning champion. Didn't Boomer Girl win it? No, Steve Barnes won it, but Boomer
Girl was right there. She was a tough one to beat for sure.
And Cynthia has said she already wants to reserve her spot. I already have people RSVP now. It's like 5 months away. So we're excited. We're going to bring a few. So some people have asked, can I bring my family? I will tell you, obviously the poker tournament is not family oriented, but we are going to have a Monopoly or a Chase-opoly event that we're going to have some prizes for.
We'll have a shortened version of the rules. We don't want a marathon game or anything.
So there's going to be some really fun stuff. If you even consider it, it's going to be, we learned from the first, this is now the second anniversary Oh my gosh, it's going to be epic. It's going to be awesome. So.
But see, I want to play Chase-opoly too. These are two games I'm really good at, poker and Monopoly.
Right. They're strategy games. They're both strategy games.
We have been talking about because some people have said, like, just like in poker, there's issues with having the couples, just like pool and other things. We're thinking of a couples version, and we're not going to define couples. It's just a pair. Maybe Sassy and I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
See, my strategy for Monopoly, Chase-opoly is you always buy the Baltic Avenue, you know, the cheap purple ones, and then you put 3-4 motels on them, right? Everybody has to pass go.
Houses, yeah.
You get no beyond houses into the hotels. You get 4 hotels on Baltic Avenue, and it's a lot of money. Everybody else wants Boardwalk at Park Place. No, I want Baltic.
Yeah, well, and there's some things that
I just want to be the banker because then I always win.
No,
right?
Okay, so just so you know, it's not Boardwalk. We need to. It's Indulgence. It's not the banker.
Park Place. It's Blaze Place. That's right.
I know, but I'm talking about the position of where Baltic is, just a few steps beyond go.
I think Baltic is Santa Fe Place, actually, if I remember.
Yeah,
right.
You got to get those two, and then you put hotels on them. They're cheap. You get the hotels on them, and everybody passes go and lands there.
Cabins. We have tents and cabins.
First one to flip over the board loses. That's how we always used to play it.
So we're thinking of actually doing what we call a survivor tournament in the first, let's say, 2 hours, and with some truncated rules. This is, who has the most money in the 2 hours. Otherwise, it's going to be 92 hours later. And people are going to be dropping them.
And plus, it's going to be a drinking game. You know it is. So this should be real interesting. Maybe I'll film the whole thing and we'll just stream it live.
Oh, is Rio de los Pinos on it?
Nah. Toby will have to wait till he gets his in the mail to find out. Or Agua Fria. Could that be on it as well? So many options. So many.
Well, I meant you said drinking. I was figuring. If that's one of the cards,
drinking game, yeah.
Drawing over and over and over again. That's an easy drunk right there.
No, Riverton isn't on it.
Yeah, right. George Washington's nose. That's right. Yeah. I've actually heard that before, Chris. That's not the first time I've heard that. And it's somewhere out there where they show a map. They drew it out. Yeah, I've heard that somewhere before.
I've never heard that.
It sounds familiar. I'd have to look it up. If I can find it, I'll email it to you.
Can I have a question for the room? Can I ask the room a question? And maybe the panel, and then also the people that are in the chat. Do you think that the chest is hidden at the end of all 9 clues, or somewhere like in the middle of the clues?
And then there was silence.
I do not think the end is where you look quickly down with the blaze, but I do think
I think that chest is at the end of the 9 clues. I mean, it seems to me the 9 clues lead us there.
No, because I think there's a clue or two after finding the chest that kind of refers back and also makes you look forward.
Oh, end of the 9th, end of the 10th. Holly is correct. I don't know what Holly said. No, at the end. And they said they'll tell you if you say what your blaze is.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Okay, Joel does not think I'm funny tonight.
Why do people want to know what I think the blaze is?
Right.
That doesn't make any sense to me. Like,
why
I don't know.
Because
question it. Like, why even question? Just give the people what they want. I mean, inquiring minds want to know. Yeah. I mean, I'm just
super chat challenge. Maybe if someone pays for us to go see Forrest Fenn.
That sounds like a GoFundMe. You start a GoFundMe.
Yeah. I thought that the blaze was the blazed trail, the cairns, and was not counting on there being an actual physical blaze at the end of the trail.
See, that's interesting, though. If there are markers along the trail, could that be the blaze? And at the end of that of those markers, it was the location of the chest. I mean, that's interesting.
Didn't Forrest say that it's not near a trail?
Not near a man-made trail. Man-made trail.
He said it's not in very close proximity to a human trail.
Yeah, this isn't a human trail.
And Joel,
it was no trail.
They say because you are the star of the panel, because we all worship you, because you are the one with all the secrets, because you are Forrest Fenn's friend, because you get super secret hints. Do you want any more reasons why? We need to know your blade.
I literally don't even know what you're talking about.
If he's getting secret hints, why don't I know them?
That's why they're secret.
No.
That's why I leave her in the car when I go searching.
Right.
I will just refer you to the
I didn't find it.
That is not something that we delve into. The softer side is where you need to go. Okay. Well, the room just went crazy.
Jeff McBurney up there in Yellowstone says, I think the blaze is a tombstone of sorts, maybe with Forrest epitaph. That's interesting.
Well, Mark Carner wants Chris you to know I'm only an hour downriver from you, Indiana style. There you go.
Somebody's in Indiana?
That's
Are you from Indiana?
Is that where you're at, Sherry?
I'm in Huntington, Indiana, yeah.
I was born in Scottsburg. Or I wasn't. I was raised in Scottsburg.
Small world. I think there should be
I'm up by Fort Wayne.
Searcher meetup in each of the 50 states. Somebody put that together.
Well, I will say, if you have a searcher, just reach out and say, even if there's only a few of us, let's get together the next weekend. I'm going to see if I can get some time
in North Carolina.
In North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
8 or 9 searchers. So if you're in North Carolina, kpro3@aol.com. I will let you know where we're meeting up. But there's probably, and it'll be a small group because the North Carolinian group out of the Rockies is not a huge one, but there's a few of us that get together every now and then. And we do what the Minnesota people do. We tell super secret hints. We get super secret hints from Forrest and we all talk about them. That's what Joel does. So that's what we're going to do.
I think there's only about 3 that I know of that are in Indiana. Me and 2 other people.
Right.
I've had quite a few people contact me from Indiana and
really?
Well, you had a newspaper article done. I remember first reading about you in that newspaper article. So
yeah. In the Louisville Insider and then in Coast to Coast. But I had actually they kept on contacting the guy that wrote the article, and then he would be like, Chris, do you care if I give you, or here's these people's emails? So I would talk to a few of them, and then there was a few of them that kind of made me uncomfortable. So you know how that goes. So
Coast to Coast, like the Art Bell Coast to Coast.
Yeah.
Is that still on?
It is. Art Bell's still the host. Yeah.
Is he? I thought he died or something.
No, I'm sorry. Art Bell did die. George Norrie is the host now. George Norrie took over for a while ago. Art Bell lived in Pahrump out here outside of Vegas.
Yeah, I remember.
And he did die, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Good stuff, coast to coast. A lot of conspiracy theory stuff.
Okay, well,
but I would be I'd be glad. Oh, what's she saying?
No, go ahead, Chris.
She's saying that Art Bell being dead is just a conspiracy. Go on.
I would be glad to put a Midwestern get together in Louisville if somebody wanted to do that,
If you
do about Indiana, 3 hours for me from, I think.
But with it being in Louisville, there's a lot of high interstates that come through Louisville, and 65, 64, 71. So if you take a 3-hour area, it would be pretty close to a lot of people.
Well, and I know searchers are up in the Detroit area too.
Yeah, Detroit's not that far from me either, because it's just above me because I'm at the top of Indiana. And then Illinois Ghost is like 3 hours west of me in the Chicago.
If people really wanted to get together, they probably could.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a meetup of some kind. So if anybody is able to show up on September 14th at Olive Garden on Flamingo, let me or K-Pro know. We're just trying to, if we need to reserve tables, if we have 12 people show up, we probably want to reserve. If we have 2 or 3, then we can just hang out at the bar. So if you know you're coming, could you just email K-Pro or me and let us know?
Yeah,
please.
We're so going to hang out at the bar, but we also might.
Yeah, well, but we might want to have dinner too. So.
I would love to be there, but my birthday is the 15th, and my wife has something planned for me here.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Cool.
Happy life. That's my motto.
All right, everybody. Well, Joel, we're glad you're back safe and sound from your boots on the ground. And Chris, we're glad you're back as well.
And I just want to say I really appreciate you all having me on.
Yeah, no problem. If you guys ever want to come back on again, let us know. We are going to do the marathon. That was originally slated for September 14th, but now the K-Pro is going to be in Vegas. We're going to postpone it. We have not come up with a new date yet. But, yeah, there will be, of course, another Forrest Fenn marathon.
I'd like to come back maybe.
Yeah.
Get some people riled up.
Yeah, right.
I have one final question for Joel. Let's see.
Oh, that's right. The deposition. I forgot.
Yes. The interrogatory. Yes.
You can submit yes your interrogatory in written form, and they'll be duly responded to.
I know. Yes or no? And there's no, I'm not going to answer it. You get yes or no. Did you leave the bear encounter with completely dry pants?
In all the parts that mattered.
Okay, that's perfect.
And was your wife there for the bear encounter, or was that just you, Joel?
No, it was just me.
Oh, okay. Lucky you. All right.
And Michael, are you going to give out the Yellowstone proxies? That
what?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I will. Before we go off, I've got some rough, unedited video. So yes, we will show
proxies.
Yeah, you came back at the wrong time. So
Maroney Park, yay!
We went way north from where we were searching and actually went through Yellowstone, and now you're.
I know. I just worked that. Actually, we should have did it before the Labor Day weekend because I know of a couple people that were up there this weekend. So there were 3 proxies that me and K-Pro hid for the when we were up there for a function in the Junction. One of them was muggled. It's gone. We don't know who got it. They never contacted us. That was at Ojo Caliente. So there are 2 other ones, and we're not going to give clues. We're actually going to show where it is. So it's kind of a foot race. Whoever gets there, if it's still there and you find it, you give us the code that's on the proxy, and this will be for coin 34 and 33 because the proxy that was in Texas was found yesterday morning. Chris... I believe his name was Chris, not this Chris, but a different Chris. Him and his daughter went, and he said thanks a lot. He was able to go right to it, and I did email everybody the solution. It was in, how do you pronounce it? Nagadoches? How do you pronounce the city? Nagadoches? Okay. In Maroney Park in Texas. That's where that proxy was. That proxy was there, taped underneath a picnic table for over 30 days, and it was right there when the guy went yesterday morning. So I thought that was pretty cool. Nobody looks under picnic tables. Well, it's not like
that park looked like it had very much traffic to start with.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Well, and I will say, and this won't give an advantage to anybody that's there, there was a group of searchers that we decided to just go to many famous areas throughout Yellowstone together when we were all up there for the function. Yeah. And when that happened, Mike and I, and they think that like we were going to kiss in the back trees or something, we disappeared for like a half an hour because we were like, all about this hunt. We were developing this hunt. We're just going to show where we went and dropped it. And they were like, where'd you guys go? And we're like, oh, we were just being like a couple. And they totally fell for it. So I will just say,
I had to pee. Hey, what's going on?
So I will just say it was kind of fun too. We actually hit the treasure. And this is where I was thinking Forrest Fenn could hit that treasure with everybody around because we hid one of the proxies. There was literally
just tourists. Everybody was around. They're not paying attention to what we're doing.
Not only them, we had like 8 searchers with us, and then the back another car full of searchers. We had lots of people around, and we hit a treasure, and nobody knew it. It was awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so I will show those in a minute here.
That's why he laughed.
What's that?
What?
I said, I think that's why he went back to his car and laughed.
Right, and he said, "Did I just do that?" Yeah, it could be. So as I look for these videos, everybody can say their goodbyes. Let's just go around the room. Anything you guys want to say in parting?
Well, auf Wiedersehen, good night.
If I could only find where these are.
I will say,
hey, he's gone. That was bye from Joel.
Yeah, he didn't want another. He did not want. He didn't want another interrogation.
Good luck.
We hammered him. We got him.
Did you like my last question?
I did.
Yeah,
that was funny.
Yeah. So
I had to get him with one. I just had to get him just with one.
He would
we like to pick on Joel, Chris, in case you just,
Oh, I know. I've watched.
Because he's a lawyer and he deserves it.
I didn't know that, though. My wife works for a law firm, and believe me, they all deserve it. So
he's really, really smart, though. Really, really, really.
And actually, he's really nice. Which put those two together with the lawyers that I know.
Yeah, yeah.
Those are great things. So, okay, the room is waiting.
I cannot. Yeah. Okay, let me show the one, and I can't find. I'll find it. It'll be posted.
I don't.
So I'm gonna pop out too real quick. So
okay. Thanks.
Good night, everybody. Love you all.
Thanks for coming on, Sassy. So
see how many people know these areas.
And I will post these videos and these pictures in Cowlazars Grand Adventure on Facebook and on Thor by tomorrow. Or maybe I'll do it tonight real quick, just so everybody can see. Okay, this is unedited video, remember? So let me see what we can do here.
Probably put the video.
Yeah, mute it. Yeah. All right. So first one,
I'll catch you all later.
All right. Thanks for coming on, Chris.
Good night.
All right. Okay, everybody, 2 proxy items, coin number 34, coin number 33. The first one is in the Rumball Creek area. This is for coin number 34. We just said we were going to give the, what? You think somebody's going to run right to it? Do you know how big the Rumball Creek area is? It's like saying it's in Yellowstone. They couldn't even find it at Ojo Caliente, and we were like, it's right there.
Okay. You already said it, little stinker.
Yeah, well, that's what we said. We were going to say it. We're not giving clues. We're actually saying this is where it is. All right, hang on, everybody. Let me find it. Let me see if this works.
And you know what? If people are in the room and they know they're not going to be around. Oh, here we go.
Is it on? Is that working? Let me see here.
Mute it.
All right. Okay, everybody. This is in the Rumball Creek area. That is the little proxy item. There is a code on the item. That's what you need to take a picture of it and the code. I wonder if you guys can see that code. So right there under that rock. Here, let's turn the audio on. Oh, you guys can't hear it anyway. So.
No, it doesn't.
Okay. So all right. So, and we're going to zoom out here. You'll be able to see where it is. That, I think, is Rumball Creek. Anyway, that's a little creek right here.
This is what Mike and I do as fun as a couple date.
It was fun, actually.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Fun.
And we'll zoom around. Some of you guys may be like, I know right where that is. And some people are probably like, I have no idea where that is. So, there's a campfire right there. I don't know why it's choppy, but it is. So we were like saying, we could put this as a clue. We can put that as a clue. So what I did is I went over to the campfire. Now, this is a turnaround. When you come in here, going to Rumball Creek, this is a little turnaround area, and you go back out. There's a campfire. We were like 20 steps to the to the right of this campfire are these white rocks. And I'll see if there might be another video that shows a little bit where we're at, too.
Oh, I think people are already getting it. I think it's good.
That rock can be seen with Google Earth. I don't know if it's that big. So it's right there under that rock. I hope it's still there. Somebody let us know when you go if it's there or not.
The Rumball Creek water that we collected at the time.
Yeah, that's right. And I don't think we ever showed that video either. Okay, so we came walking out. We showed the sign, but I don't know if that's going to help anybody. Protect natural resources. No motor vehicles stay on road. That sign's probably everywhere. And then you see Bigfoot run by in the background. I don't know what we're showing there. Oh, we tried to show where we're at on Google Maps. Check it out. So when you put in Rumball Creek Campground, we were right there. There's like a little side trail, a little road that goes off the road. It's a dirt road off the main road. So good luck, everybody.
Gone. There's no way under that little random rock that one's gone. No way.
Jeff says he was there. Well, if anybody wants to go check it out, yeah, and it's not there, let us know, because then we'll know for sure. We're going to do something different with those coins. Dirt road, yeah. All right, that was that one. Let me see if I can even find the other one. What was this one? Oh, this was us walking. Oh, there's this sign right here. This will tell you if you're in the right area or not when we came up on it. That's the campground, or campfire, I should say.
Yeah, it's over to the right.
And then this sign right here, Custer Gallatin National Forest. And then the white rocks are actually to the right of this. But it's actually hard to do a treasure hunt. It's hard to hide these proxy items. And then what if we didn't just give this to you? What if we were going to come up with clues that you could like find this area? I mean, I just think of how when Forrest hit his treasure chest, how hard it was to come up with the 9 clues. His treasure chest could be right there, and we wouldn't even see it. You know what I mean? And then this is when we walked down to the creek, and we actually took the water. There's my Cowlazars jacket from years and years ago. And then there was a whole video. Oh, and what is that? There's rabbits here, huh? Actually, that's bear scat, I think. Anybody back me up on that one? So we were like, oh, great. There must be bears around here. So, okay, that's that one. The other one is in Firehole Falls, everybody. The problem is I can't find the video that shows where we hit it. So right here at this sign, Firehole Falls, behind the sign, there's a parking area. Behind that, directly opposite of this sign, there's a little path you can walk up like an incline. It curves to the right. The proxy is right underneath two logs that we kind of put in an X shape, and I cannot find the video. But when I do find the video, I will post it. I just can't find it right now. But it was Hey, there I am. It was Firehole Falls, right? I just can't find the video of when you actually hit it.
Yeah,
So,
we show exactly where. There's no way anybody's gonna find it except if.
Yeah, and this is video of where we were. Look at that! Isn't that beautiful?
Literally 2-inch by 1-inch little box.
It's not down there, everybody. It's opposite of this, behind this picture, behind this setting. Let me pause that. Yeah, and that's kind of all we got. So when I find the video that shows when we actually hit it, I will for sure post that in the Grand Adventure. So if you guys aren't part of the Cowlazars Grand Adventure on Facebook, you guys should join because both these videos will be there. And yeah, if those proxies are still there, I know it's they may be gone. This is what, 2 months ago, 3 months ago? We'll see.
Yeah. No, I like it. Did they ever open up for swimming? That wasn't there. Oh my gosh, everything was just going. I missed lots of stuff as I walked out. I'm sorry. But I'm back. So I'm pretty sure it's gone. Jeff, no, I don't think either. It was shocking. If just some random rock, it's already gone. This isn't like the Ojo Caliente one, but we'll see. It was a little bit more off the beaten path, especially the Firehole one. It was really off the beaten path. Anyway.
Yeah, so that's it, everybody. Those are the two proxy items. If they're there, they're there. If they're not, we'll come up with something else for the coins, the numbered coins. Chase-opoly, we're still taking pre-orders. We got an order today, actually, Christy. After I got off the phone with you, somebody bought one. So, all right, well, Jeff is saying he knows it's not there. So it's up to you guys if you want to make the trip or not. If you're going out there anyway, I would say, look, maybe don't make a trip just to look for this thing. But, okay, if it's not there, then somebody found it. When is another one with actual clues? We don't have a date yet. We will do another proxy item with clues, but we don't have a date on that yet. We kind of been dealing with this thing called Chase-opoly for months now, and we finally just got that kind of taken care of. So, but we will. There'll be other mini treasure hunts, and you know what we always say: support people that do treasure hunts. So,
yeah.
And yeah, Jeff says he's going to go and take videos, so we know it's gone. All right. Okay, Jeff, cool. And then the Firehole Falls. I mean, if I can't find the actual video, that would be impossible to find. So I hope I can find it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love it.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We will be back on Thursday, right? And yeah, we did about 2 hours. So good. Perfect 2 hours. Hope everybody had a great Labor Day weekend. Thumbs up the video. Make sure you subscribed. K-Pro, you want to say anything before we sign off?
I don't think so. Go to Hint of Riches. We are discussing all things hunt related. That's where I get lots of ideas that I try to bring to the group. So there's lots of different side discussions that are happening between Facebook, Reddit, and the forums. And I think of course YouTube. I think they're 4 very different subcultures, and there's lots of discussions. I could post the same topic in 4 different areas, and this chat room gives a very different response as Reddit. That gives a very different response as the forums. That gives a different response as Facebook. Even Facebook has its own sub pages or whatever they're called. So anyway, have some fun with it. But Hint of Riches is my place that I go and say hello to. So there you have it.
All right, everybody. We will see you Thursday night. Thanks for joining us tonight. And especially thanks to our guests that were on. They make the show. So we will see you next time.